Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be setting up my prayer journal for 2022, and I'm going to start by decorating that inside cover. So I already did a test page, and that will be glued down on my back cover, but now I'm just going to recreate it for the front. So I really like, if you have been to any of my videos, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I like the layering of fonts, and I like the aesthetic of having writing or handwriting behind the foregrounds, so in the background. So I just start this page by using some craft paper, and I write the words prayer journal in 3 different fonts. I just write it in my normal cursive. I write it in the elongated cursive and in just that all capital letters font. And then I also like the double borders. I don't know how to explain it, but you know how you have 2 different lines for the border and they're kind of cat-a-corner or kind of off-center from each other? Yeah, that's what I'm doing right here. So I just recently bought these POSCA pens, these POSCA paint pens, and I have really been enjoying them. I've been wearing them out. So that's what I use to do the 2 squares on the outline for the title of this page. And then I use some of the craft paper color lined sticky notes that I got a few months ago. I don't really know how else to explain it, but it's literally just some sticky note paper that comes in the color of craft paper, and it has lines on it, and I thought it was super cute. So I use that for the middle, and I just write "this journal belongs to," and then later on I'm gonna fill in my name. So now that that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and glue that down on my inside front cover, and that's the first thing you'll see when I open my prayer journal. So next I'm going to do the heading, and at first I was gonna draw it out, but I also just recently bought some craft paper, and I've been wearing that out too, and you'll be seeing a lot of that in this video. So I just glued that down, and while I'm waiting on it to dry, I went ahead and drew in some of my flowers. I think this is a monstera leaf that I'm drawing. I think that's the name of it, and this was inspired by my September bullet journal. And if you head over to my Instagram, Planning with Bree, you'll see what I'm talking about. So in September, I did a lot of these blue leaves. It was gorgeous, and I just really enjoyed drawing these flowers. They're very simple, but I wanted to do it in green this time because I want my prayer journal to be very peaceful and calming and relaxing when I open it up. So that's why I chose this color scheme of like this dark hunter green with the craft paper and the gold. So loving this gold gel pen as well. I use that to make some of the smaller flowers. I'm not really sure if this is a daisy or I really don't know the name of that flower, but I draw it a lot, so I probably should know the name of it. But it's cute, and it looks really good. The gold pen looks really good on the white paper. I wasn't sure that it would, but hey, it turned out gorgeous. So now I'm just gonna fill in some flowers up at the top using the same pattern and the same colors. And then I'm going to fill in the craft paper with 2022 and go around it with a little bit of a border. So I was kind of struggling to come up with what I was going to do for my prayer journal, which is why this video is going up so late. Every time I've ever had a prayer journal, I just open a journal and start writing. So this is the first time I've ever had to actually set one up and be creative and think about what I want it to look like when I first open it and the mood I was going for. It was just the first time I ever had to do that. So it took me a while to come up with the theme, the color scheme, and did I want to draw? Did I want to use multimedia? And I had to think about, the purpose of this journal. Am I going to be carrying it to church when church opens back up? Or is this something I'm just going to keep at the house? So I had to think about all of that. Maybe I was overthinking it, but that was going through my mind when I was thinking about how I wanted to decorate this journal and what I wanted to include. So I decided that I would go ahead and be creative and just have it be very pretty, but also inspirational at the beginning. And then I'll fill it in as normal, like I have been doing for the past years that I've kept a prayer journal. So on this next page, it is my quote page and purpose of this journal. So for this quote page, I decided to go with a verse from Isaiah 43:18 and 19. It says, "Do not call to mind the former things of the past. Behold, I will do something new. Will you not be aware of it? I will even make a roadway in the wilderness, rivers in the desert." And I really loved this quote, and I wanted to put it at the very beginning of this prayer journal. Because one of the things that I like to do at the beginning of the year is to reflect on the past year and, just kind of go through what I did, what I didn't do that I wanted to do, and just kind of mull that over in my brain, maybe a little too much. So this was just a reminder to not call upon those things that maybe did not happen, because God can make a way, period. So, just the visualization of a roadway in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Come on now, like that really spoke to me. So I wanted to have that at the beginning, and I wanted to put that right next to the purpose of my journal, which is the page I'm creating right here. So that craft paper that I put down, I just wrote purpose all over it in the same elongated cursive font. And then I just layered some green colored paper that was the same color as my marker, some paper that I ripped out of a book, and this cute little picture of a Bible. I also glued down a little bit of lined paper from an old journal that I used to use for work, and I just don't use it anymore, so I went ahead and glued that down. And then I just came in with the same flowers and the same color scheme just to kind of tie it all together. So I have been enjoying having a purpose of this journal page in all of my journals. I think since I have at least 2 at the moment, who knows if I'll start another one, I think it's very important for me to define why I have a journal so that I use it properly. In this journal, the purpose for this journal, number 1, is to take notes in a way that I will want to go back and read them and use them in my life, which is, I'm talking about sermon notes, or if I'm reading on my own, doing my own Bible reading plan. This is also to keep up with my Bible reading plan of anything that I choose to read in the Bible. And to record my prayers, record the prayers that God has answered for me, and things like that. So I wanted to be very diligent about having that page in my journal. So the next few pages I'm about to set up is going to be a Dutch door layout for my table of contents. So you saw me measure out how thick it needed to be so that it could show on both sides of the Dutch doors. And then I just use my paper cutter to make sure that the line is straight. And then I use one of my old college math books to weigh it down so that it sticks down pretty good. So I debated having this page in my bullet journal for a little too long. I didn't think I wanted to use it because I felt like it was too trite to put a table of contents in my prayer journal. I didn't think it made sense at first, But technically, this is kind of a reading journal. And I think that it would benefit me in the long run to know where everything is. As I explained in the beginning, I'm going to be keeping a few different types of material, notes, and prayers in this journal, and I want to be able to find them when I need them, especially since I don't have them sectioned off. So I went ahead and decorated the green parts of this Dutch door, so the parts that you'll be able to see as you flip through the table of contents, with my white POSCA paint pen, just doing those flowers, this time in white because it pops so well on that green. And then I do it on both sides, and I'm going to go in and label each page in this table of contents. I have 2 pages for Bible study notes. I have 2 pages for sermon notes, and then 2 pages for prayers. And then we will be on to the next page. The next page is going to be for my favorites of the year. This is where I'm going to keep my favorite Bible verses, my favorite prayers, and my favorite song lyrics, or my favorite quotes that I may hear somebody see that are inspirational or just downright funny. I've heard a few church jokes that I may want to put on this page that are just good and have a positive note to them. So I might put that on this page as well. So the first thing I do is lay down that strip of book paper for my heading, and it just says 2022 faves. And then after I laid this down, I was thinking that I really wanted this to be on Kraft paper. So instead of covering it all up and having to redo the heading again, I just kind of took my Kraft paper and cut out some rectangles. And I lost a little bit of footage here where you could see me trying to place the pieces around, but all I did was just cut out some lined paper from various notebooks, and I put 6 on each page just so I could make sure I had 12, one for each month. And after I had them glued down, I'm going to go around each one so that it can pop and stand out, and I'm going to create a border around all of them. So I thickened the borders up, and depending on what type of paper it is, I used that same color for each paper. I also used the same border for each paper. You'll see me kind of go around it with this light tan right here. And then I went back in and drew some of those green leaves that I used on the front cover of my prayer journal. And I'm going to be honest. Washi tape and I have a very love-hate relationship right now, okay? I love it. It's beautiful. I just can't seem to use it right. You know, like I have so many that I want to use and I just don't know how. So right here, I'm playing around with like laying down strips of them. It wasn't sticking well, so I had to use glue. It's a whole thing. But after trying to figure out how to do the strips, I just decided to cut each one of them out and just kind of glue them down separately. And I think that came out cuter than trying to lay down the strip of this particular washi tape. And that's the final touches on this spread. So the next spread I'm going to set up, I need to add a few lined pages. So I used this trick that I found from a different YouTube video. If I can find it, I'll link it in here. But all you do is just like take some tape, just one-sided tape, and you put the sticky part on the outside of something hard, and then you just kind of shove it in there in the crevice of your journal with the paper that you want to insert right on top of it, so that the sticky tape is sticking to your journal and the pages that you want to insert. And then you just kind of flatten it out, and you know, it works pretty well. I've done it a few times. It takes some practice, but it works. So on this page, I was writing, I worship you because of who you are, and boom. I had a little bit of an accident. I did not let the gold dry before I tried to create a border. But then I said, that was a beautiful mistake. So then I just went through and smeared the rest of it. I actually really like how that turned out. I might be using that technique a little later in my bullet journal. Just because, I don't know, it gives it some character and it gives it a little bit of depth to the words. So this spread will be for praise and worship. It will be for the names of God, any songs or any poems or anything that I want to recite, maybe something that I would read every morning when I do my first 15. And that's why I wanted to put it at the beginning of my prayer journal. So to finish decorating this page, I went ahead and glued down some craft paper and this little picture that I found. And then I drew out some more flowers in the green POSCA paint pen and the gold pen just to tie it all together. And I really, really like how this page turned out. It was very clean, but it was also very welcoming, I guess you could say. And I really needed those lines. I can write pretty straight, but for this spread in particular, I didn't want to have to worry about that. So here's the final flip through of this journal. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and come back to see me next Tuesday for another video.